came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
I'm mean mugging you, Eli.
Yo.
Happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday, bro.
Hey,
I forgot it's even Friday. It's hard to keep track of days.
you come from the mud?
Always, man.
Is there dirt on your
Always.
hands,
A
Eli?
little bit. Trying to wash it off.
Hey, it's getting a little real, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
I tell you what, man, there's not too many times where, and obviously aside of people's savings or famous people or whatever excuse you got, I've never seen a time where everybody is kind of at like the same starting point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or everybody's at, everybody's humbled by circumstances.
Like a level playing field.
Look, man, even people that make a lot of money, they've got a lot of responsibility behind what they're doing, and maybe they don't stay in business. Who knows, right? But cutting the fat and staying lean, and we're going to get into that too, literally today.
Yep.
We're going to talk about some fitness, but there's some good stuff that we want to cover today. Before we get into that, some cool stuff here in Colorado. Governor was on and talked about mortgage relief. Obviously, that mortgage relief bleeds into renters relief and anything that's in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure right now, or any evictions that were going to happen to renters are obviously being freezed for
30 to 60 days, something like that.
60 or 90 days, but they're also coming up with like folks that are not delinquent, just relief on your mortgage side, relief on car loans, a ton of stuff coming down. I'm not sure what your state looks like personally or wherever you're at, or if you're in Germany or wherever you're listening. We've got stuff worldwide, but at least here in Colorado, some really cool stuff that's coming out to just be, it seems like he's being super assertive. He's ahead of the curve as far as just taking action to get it done. And a side note, because I know you're gonna mention this as well, is he wasn't saying anything about a mandatory quarantine yet. Obviously, if it changes, different. But he's very cognizant of, the economy still needing to operate the best that it can. And for folks that operate in small numbers that they can, like obviously real estate, you don't need 10 plus people to do that. Only usually a couple of people at a time anyway, man. So some things that can survive or continue to operate, he sees the importance of that. So some cool stuff that came out today.
And real quick, one important note on that is for the mortgage stuff, for the rental situation, you have to be proactive on that. It's not just going to automatically happen. If you're not calling your mortgage company, if you're not calling your landlord, they're not just going to automatically
No, you'll just do it. It'll automatically happen. Your ass will just not be paying. And I'm sure they'll contact you, but not the best way to do it.
But yeah, reach out and just have those conversations.
100%. But I just, today's title, right? Quarantine your negativity. I'm big on this. I think it's super important. Like right now, you're not watching a movie. You're not reading a book. Like you're in the movie right now. Right. However you want to come out of this, however you want to persevere and attack this, it's going to be up to you how creative you get, how you choose to persevere, and just be positive to see this through and come out better on the other end. Super important, but just being resourceful and just not allowing yourself to succumb to just negativity. Everybody's got some things going on right now. Help your neighbor, do what you can. But man, like I'm not enjoying this at all. Right. Right. But
well knows with you.
But I watch is way more than I talk. You know that by now.
Yep.
Even though I talk a lot.
Yeah. That means he watches a ton.
I do.
He watches a fuck ton.
Almost impossible numbers. But there's a lot of people out there that like to bark or like to be on top, and it's good when it's good. But when there's some adversity, you really start to see where people fall. And for yourself, like don't even take it as just watching other people, but this is a time where, hey, you're tested. How tough are you going to be? How creative are you going to be? How much can you take, and what are you going to do? Are you going to be picking up flowers a couple months from right now because you're planting the right seeds, or are you going to be a victim of society and allow yourself to just drown? So I think it's super important. With that being said, we want to kind of go over some stuff that can help with that as far as like, not succumbing to negativity. We're big on health and fitness and just keeping your mind right. We talked about that the other day. So we wanted to get a little specific today on what we're doing to combat that. I've got some cool stuff I've been doing. I had a cool thing that I ordered, got it like over half off, so I'm going to use it. Seems pretty awesome. But I'm going to let you start it off as far as like, hey man, like health and fitness wise, what does that mean to you? And then what are you doing at home to kind of combat not being able to go to the gym?
Yeah, man. Like we talked about earlier this week, I think just staying in that routine is critical. As far as nutrition, man, I'll start off on that first. And then, I think we'll talk about exercise. It's so tempting right now, bro, when people are stocking up at the stores and a lot of like the meats and produce are gone, what's left, or the packaged snacks and shit like that. I know people are getting a lot of pretzels and chips and sugar and just stuff, you know, all good, right? That can keep you happy and like a good state of mind. However, what I'm trying to be really aware of is watching the fucking sugar, because that's dangerous, man. And that's where it's like, sugar is just terrible for your immune system. It's terrible for your psyche. It's terrible for your gut. It's terrible for a lot of shit. So I'm really trying to watch that, man. And then you've been real big on my water intake lately. We've been on a big water kick, coincidentally, as of like a couple weeks ago, which has been huge, man. So I think, you know, things that help you think clear, things that help your immune system, staying on the fruits and veggies, watching the fucking sugar, man. That's the biggest thing for me right now.
Yeah. You know, I almost don't want to like throw this little bean out there, but we're going to throw it out there. Meal replacement stuff, right? Like this, you know, like we're both supplement heads, and I'd like supplements to supplement, you know, my diet and nutrition. I don't rely on it. However, like right now, if you're rationing food, if you're trying to budget yourself, if it's hard to find certain stuff at the store and you can only have like fresh food like once a day now instead of 3 or 4 times. Excuse me. Bad etiquette right there. I burped. Got that from Tosh.
Yeah.
No, sorry guys. Get over it. Fucker. Proteins, man, just getting yourself like a good clean, meal replacement protein with some good carbs and some slow digesting protein, some fast digesting protein, and taking that after your workout, taking that before bed to just curb your appetite and not require so much food. And this is something that's a unique challenge. And maybe that's why, and I want to be careful how I talk about it, because hey man, people are at risk, people are getting sick, and I don't want to make light of any of that. I'm not. What I am saying though is on the other side, as far as everyone being quarantined, is America, you know, or just Americans, we're not used to that. We're not used to having like our quote unquote rights taken away from us. And let's not call it rights. I mean, this is a serious situation, but let's call it
privileges, maybe.
Your privileges and your liberties to just kind of be free and clear and just do whatever you want. We're super not used to that, but I am. 8 years in the Marine Corps, you know, police work. Like, look, man, the meal ready to eats that we have, we used to have a contest, okay, on the bread that came in that. It's not bread, by the way. Oh, man, it's even more bad. Oh, that's Manny. We got to say.
That's awesome. We got to get him in sometime.
Manny, what up, bro?
We're taking Manny break.
Yo, radio check.
Hey, radio check. Hey, I'm live on the podcast right now, but because you're my boy, I gotta make sure you're doing well, and I gotta take your phone call.
Oh, hey, man, I appreciate that. I was just calling to check in on you, bud.
No, I appreciate that. I'm sure you got my text. And if you guys don't know Manny, he's out at Bastards in Southern California. They got a great support system out there. They're doing their thing. But as Marines, we always check in on each other, make sure we don't need to kill someone for each other or throw some food or whatnot. But hey, bro, it's funny you call because I'm getting ready to get into like some MRE bread and how shitty that was.
Oh, man. You know what? I'll take that chicken with noodles any day, man. Oh, man.
Dude, that's awesome.
Make sure you don't wrap up the MREs. But, yeah, man, hey, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate you checking in this morning. I just wanted to throw you a call and let you know that we're all good over here. We're still hooking and jabbing here at the restaurant. Just trying to make it happen. But, you know, shout out to everybody out there in Colorado. Hope you stay safe, buddy. And let me know if you need anything, man.
No, likewise, man. Love you so much, dude. Appreciate you calling, and this is definitely a highlight of today of checking in on each other and what matters and how to keep ourselves sharp. So I appreciate it, dude. And when I get some time, I'll throw you a call after this podcast.
For sure, man. Hey, shout out to everybody, and you know, send some love and everything, man. We're doing our thing out here, brother. Let us know.
Right on, man. I appreciate you. Love you, brother. Keep in touch, and I'll give you a call after this.
Sounds good.
Later, doggy.
We got to Skype him in one of these days, man.
Listen, man, just a little off topic, I guess, but just still to the point as far as like what we're trying to cover today. But that right there, man. Hey, what's up, bro? Radio check. So, like in the Marine Corps, you know, like when you're on deployments or you're training, like we had certain radio checks,
okay,
to make sure, like, because you're staying off radios, especially if you're being quiet and you're operating. But we do them like depending on like what you were doing, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, every hour, you do what's called a radio check. And that's me checking on, make sure that radio communication is clear, making sure that you're okay, things like that. So when Manny's like, hey, what's up, man? Radio check. That's his way of like, hey, man, are you okay? And let me just shed some light on that. So Manny, those guys own Bastards Canteen out in Southern California. They've got several franchises that are starting to open up. This is a combat veteran, owned bar and grills, man, and they're getting hit super hard right now, right? And they're, they've always done well. They've always done well for downing that community, and a lot of guys are doing the curbside stuff, just ordering food, ordering some alcohol to keep those guys afloat. Dude, I promise you right now, with what's going on in California and these mandatory shutdowns and what's going on, I promise you he's getting hit hard as fuck.
Yeah, man.
However, that dude sends me a phone call. Do you understand that? Like, do you understand, like, the amount of care or just camaraderie you could have with a guy where you just know they're kind of getting beat up right now, but they've always got some gas in the tank to check on their Marines and make sure we're all good. And let that sink in for a minute before you guys realize like how bad you really have it. We just don't. But I'm glad he called when he did, because I want to shed some light on just liberties and freedoms. And man, you don't have that when you're when you're in the military, and it's not a democracy. You signed up, to be of service for whatever your country needed. And it wasn't there for your liberty or your freedom. And a lot of things that you had to do, you gotta rock with it, man. And some of the food that we ate, the MREs, the meals ready to eat, there's this bread in there. It's not bread, but they label it bread. Super thick. We used to have these competitions, bro, of like $20, $100, $500 that you couldn't eat that piece of bread in 2 minutes.
Oh, no shit.
In 2 minutes.
That terrible?
Because it's just that like
dense and yeah,
dude. And the peanut butter, bro, it's I don't even want to relive it.
Yeah,
we're doing okay overall. Like everyone's going to be okay, but I do, and I don't want to say enjoy, because again, this is not a good time for small business. This is not a good time for certain people's health. I'm intrigued, or I will be intrigued, to see the public have some adversity. Like this, and I encourage people to step up to that challenge and to get creative and to understand, like, hey, you're in it now. This is not the movie you're watching. You're now in the movie, and whatever you take from this, whatever you want to create or make, it's gonna happen. But you've got to stand the test of time, and you've got to ask yourself, like, how much do I got? I've been a lot of talk, or maybe you're not a lot of talk. Who knows? But we see a lot of talk. You've got to dig down deep and just understand how to be resilient and resourceful, and just have some contingencies. You and I have been talking about our own safety, our own well-being with our families. Don't ignore those conversations, but also don't allow them to just be negative. But understand, like, hey, what's our contingency plan? Like, just like in the Marine Corps, man, like, hey, where's our rally? Where's our contingency? Like, where's our rally points? Hey, if we do have to kind of like take a step back, where's our rally points? And we don't ever want to plan on those. But when we do, they got to be there. So you and I, man, like I've been talking to you about, hey, bro.
Yeah, let's look at
worst
what's
case
going to
happen. I got a family room and a living room. You can have the family room.
Right.
Hey, we got a spare bed. Hey, we've been talking about it. And it's like, they're not the funnest conversations, but now there's packing a body bag.
But they're also,
family.
calming, man, because when you can play out the absolute worst case scenario and you're still okay with that, and you realize, hey, like, provided, no one's dying or getting shot or anything crazy, but worst case scenario economically, we're still going to be all right.
100%, man. And you kind of need those conversations, because when you go, okay, worst case scenario that I can imagine, I'm okay. Okay. That's now your new safety net, per se.
Right.
Get back at it. Get back to work. Do what you can. Now, with that being said, let's get back into like the fitness stuff. I know we want to talk about that today. I think it's huge. I do think psychologically getting your body moving, getting water, getting food in you is great. So my first tip is supplementation. Don't go rating on my protein shells, fuckers. Don't go start doing that bullshit. Or if you're gonna grab me one, would you please, for the heads up. But proteins right now and just different supplements for your diet. One, first and foremost, you don't need as much fucking food as you think. First and foremost, okay? Secondly, supplementing your traditional diet with, 1 or 2 shakes a day can be phenomenal for you. They got a lot of good vitamins in them. They do help with immunity, with your immune system. Just some good stuff there. Secondly, we want to get into the workouts, because I think, again, moving your body is huge. What are you doing at home right now to keep your body moving?
Well, thankfully, man, a few months ago, dude, I got some home workout equipment, squat rack, a bench, some barbells, some kettlebells. So thankfully I have that there. Coincidentally enough, I have been finding myself doing more bodyweight stuff, more cardio activities, plyometrics, getting on the spin bike, stuff like that. And dude, for me, like, physically for sure. But when I feel like I don't have any control on a lot of things that are going on right now, getting that win in the day and having control over my workout, having control over my exertion level, and getting that win locked in, by 7 a.m. has been so good, dude. And I definitely have noticed, like, I haven't done that every day this week. Today I didn't. And it's like, I know. And you can probably see a difference in me today than some other days this week to where it's like
you were a little negative Nancy today.
a little on edge, a little bit, just quite uncertain, versus the other days when it was like I had that win. It's different. So now I know what I'm doing when I go home tonight, but then also tomorrow morning is going to be different too.
Yeah, and people are going to be looking for leadership right now. Whether they like to admit it or not, people seek leadership. Don't go saying stuff that's not true. Don't go being full of shit. I'm not saying that. But step up and do what you can and spread the word that you can that's truthful. Help in any way that you can to just be a team player, right? And obviously don't put yourself at risk. Don't make a bad situation worse by putting yourself out there. Like a not very fun conversation, like when when you're talking about training Marines and you're going over, fire and maneuver and covering each other and things like that and suppressive fire in order for you to move. The one thing that you don't want to do, right? Like let's say a guy goes down in the street, man, and that sucks. That sucks, right? And that's your brother. But what you don't want to do is go run your ass out in that street before you've had time to communicate and create some suppressive fire to cover you while you're doing it. Because if you don't, you run your ass out there and now you're hurt. Guess what? Now there's 2 hurt Marines in the street, fucker. Mm-hmm. So you've got to allow yourself to just not let emotions have majority vote. Shoot, move, communicate, okay? But there's a process to that. And it's not going to feel right. You're going to, your emotions, even in training, like your emotions are getting involved with that. You want to feel, what you feel like the right thing to do at the moment might not necessarily be like the best reaction. So it's the same thing with all of this, man. Like, there's a process to this. Some of it's going to be within our control. Some of it's not. What is in your control right now is how well you take care of your mind and your body. What is within your control is how you become a leader for your family or for your community and for your neighbors to just do what you can, right? And part of that is just incorporating fitness. For me, I'm a bigger guy. I love the gym. I love traditional lifting and still getting my cardio and things like that. But man, I remember it was like the day we found out gyms got canceled, I was in the gym that morning. Mm-hmm. You and I were talking that afternoon, and then like on social media it came out and they're closed. I'm like, fuck.
Right. We were immediately making calls to buddies that own gyms and stuff.
Trying to get drug deals.
Figure something
right?
out. Yeah.
And it's just not going to happen. At least not enough to where you can rely on it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we talked about it. We laughed it off. Like then the next thing I started doing, man, was going through old workouts, going through my head. I knew the next day was just ironically a day off for me anyway. Mm-hmm. So I took that day off to kind of brainstorm and just look through some stuff. So first and foremost, I knew I could get my cardio in, right? Get your heart going, stay healthy. That also helps with your immune system as well. So, and then I got into a leg circuit. I just pulled one of my old leg circuits out with lunges, squats, calf races. So I did 12-minute hit on the bike. Mm-hmm. I did a 10-minute, 12-minute leg circuit nonstop. You go as many rounds as you can. So if you're resting for 5 seconds or 20 seconds after a full round of 4 for those 4 exercises, rest as little as possible to keep going. And then after that, I got back on the bike for another 12. And then I did an ab circuit after that. So I'm looking at like 35 minutes or so. Brutal.
Crushed.
Dude, I hadn't had like a bodyweight workout in a long time. Like the type of thrashing you can do to yourself is awesome. And if you haven't done it in a while, your body's going to start to respond to that because you're throwing something it doesn't need. But here's what I did do, man. I sat my truck in the driveway, right? And I got on my YouTube. I'm sipping on my pre-workout because that's what I do at the gym. Yeah. I sit in my truck. I watch some YouTube, not necessarily motivational stuff. Usually it's business stuff or somebody, or whatever. And like just kind of getting into it and sipping on my pre-workout. And then instead of going into the gym, I walked inside. But I didn't allow any negative thought to creep into my head. Yep. I had made up my mind like, hey, this is what it is. So before I allowed any negative thought to creep into my head and hinder that workout, I was already halfway into the damn workout before I even thought about it, right? But a lot of people let it sink in. They end up taking another day off. No, be assertive, take action. Don't allow time to just sink in and allow thoughts and negotiation with yourself be a factor. There was no negotiating. I woke up. I got myself ready to go. I got my pre-workout in. I get my ass in my truck. I'm going through it, and I'm into that workout. I'm halfway through it before I even had a thought of whether I should have done it or not. And you know what the thought I had was? Fuck, I'm glad I did this.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm getting thrashed right now, but it feels good. The heart rate's going. The body weight's going. I feel good. If I wouldn't have had that, if I wouldn't have had my mind made up, if I would have allowed doubt or negotiation to creep into my head, maybe I don't work out and I just, man, my body needs a break. You end up taking a week off and then maybe you never do it. And then after that, So I'd guide it in, hey, great. But then that night, I'm still looking at different stuff I could do. Sure enough, typical to marketing, right? It's like, stay at home time. Chuck Norris, he's on an infomercial.
Yeah.
90,000 years old, just doing his flies and his machine. I'm like, that thing's
Shredded,
fucking cool.
yeah.
And they got a huge promotion on it. So for the record, I bought a Chuck Norris Total Body.
How's he looking these days?
Phenomenal.
Is he really?
He's probably killing coronavirus.
I mean,
as
he's
we
like
speak.
wrinkled and shit, right?
I think
But
he saved
he's looking
China.
all right.
Now he's coming here. Hopefully he gets to Italy. I think he's single-handedly killing coronavirus.
Shit.
But I looked at the reviews. I'm
Yep.
looking on YouTube. I'm finding some bigger guys using it. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. And it's not my ideal type of training, but it's functional. It gets your heart rate up. You will start tearing muscle fibers. You will get a great workout in on how you use it. But this is all strictly on a mindset, right? Like
Yep.
first and foremost is there's no negotiating here. This is what it is. You're going to make the best of what you got. So the decision to do it or not do it isn't there in my head. It's how well can I incorporate home workouts? And then as it warms up, start taking jogs outside as I let people outside on a little bit more of a regular basis, things like that. But just again, man, just not allowing that negativity to even creep in your head to allow you to have a day off. Like challenge yourself. If you got to write out a calendar, if you got to write your own, if you got to go 75 hard right now, like Andy Frisella, he's got a really cool 75 hard program where for 75 days you eat great food, you get a gallon of water in at least, you do 2 workouts a day. If that's something, if you need structure, 75 hard is awesome. It's open-ended. Pick a diet, pick a workout. You're going to do 2 workouts a day. One's inside, one's outside. Obviously, if you just can't go outside, depending on the state or country you're in right now, you'd have to alter it. But just having some type of structure to focus on so you're not just counting the hours around
100%.
and getting yourself in there, but also understanding, again, especially in America, your liberties or certain freedoms right now, they're just restricted and you're not used to that. The quicker you can understand that you've got to adapt to this, but there's some benefit to this adversity and how strong you come through this. You can impress yourself. You can take this opportunity to do a great job for your family, your neighbors, yourself, or you be a little bitch.
Or that.
That's a strong word, but look, everybody's up against the wall right
Yeah,
now.
they are.
You've got something to prove to yourself, not just your family if you're responsible to people, but even myself, man. Like I've got a family, we've got a company that we have, and we're in charge of people, and we're leading clients right now, and all that good stuff. But I've never stopped the expectation of having something to prove to myself.
Yeah.
And right now, this adversity, you know how I see it. Mine is like just people that are sick and people that are going to go through loss. Unfortunate, right? And I think a lot of us have been through that. I've lost more friends than I can count through the Marine Corps. So I can understand that side. However, it's been a long time since I've had some real just adversity that's going to test not only myself, but everyone. Because now you can start looking around your community. Now you can start looking around like, hey, how tough am I? Like, are other people cracking, but I'm not? Are other people not adapting, but I am? Are other people not getting their fitness in, but I am? Are other people negative on social media, but I'm not? You can actually start to see where you sit in the pack. And that's something I remember for one of the first times, like when I went to the Marine Corps, like the baseball stuff, I was always good at that bullshit. But when I went to the Marine Corps, I wasn't good at everything. And a lot of it was going to be unexpected. And about week 3, you start seeing people break. You start seeing people cry in their bunks at night. You start seeing people like just doing weird shit to try to get out of boot camp. And then you go, oh, I haven't broke yet. All right, I'm not the weakest. Okay. And it's not like a survival mechanism, but it kind of, because you start recognizing where you're at in the pack and like, hey, man, I'm not the worst. Okay.
That's got to be motivating, right?
It's motivating. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting. Now, in that sentence, I did not say, buddy, fuck someone, put someone down, take all their toilet paper. No. But you are going to be able to kind of see where you sit in the pack of like, what are your peers doing? And people that are getting weak. Yeah, it's okay to help them and try to manage some of their stress with giving them some advice or some resources that you can. But you can't just hack their whole load. But this is also where you can do a little bit of a social experiment of like, who are you surrounding yourself with?
Right.
Where do people truly stand in times like
Right.
this? But this adversity, I would challenge yourself to see what you've got. See what you've got. Do you have what it takes to come out? Because if you do, there's going to be some flowers for you to pick, right?
I want to talk about the negotiations with yourself, man, because I really like the way you put that. And I always try and be really aware of that because I catch myself doing it a lot. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of what that is and how that even happens. But your mind and your body are tricky things. And when he's talking about negotiations with yourself, to me anyway, my interpretation of that is that voice in your head that, and since we're talking about fitness, I'll use that for an example. When you've been, you've had 3 or 4 good workouts, and then you wake up on that 5th day, and it is a day to go to the gym, right? On the schedule, it's a day to go to the gym, but you wake up and you hear that voice in your head saying, "Oh man, hey, you had 4 good workouts. You're good. Your body's sore. You can take a day off. You can work out tomorrow and take today off." If you've been real strict on a diet and today's not a cheat day, but you hear that voice in your head, "Oh man, you've had 3 low carb days in a row. Your body needs carbohydrates," and it starts that voice in your head starts going. That's that negotiation that I hear, where it's like your brain tries tricking you into doing shit that isn't on the schedule, that you shouldn't be fucking doing, because really your brain is in that survival mode, right? And that tacks into like a different side of our DNA, and it's trying to get sugar, it's trying to get calories, it's trying to get fat, it's trying to get rest.
Your brain is like
it's a different
Homer Simpson right now.
It's a different
If you live
animal.
in America, your brain is like Homer Simpson. He's fat and happy and weak.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And he doesn't want, he wants his beer and he wants his junk food. I don't know, man. Like, so for me, just the years of things not being an option, like my mental, my physical was all there to make sure that I'm doing what I'm responsible for to keep other guys safe, whether that was Marine Corps stuff or even police work, keeping yourself safe, other officers safe, the public safe. So for me, like, that tool got executed for others. But I think even back then, man, I think every time I've sat in a parking lot of a gym, I think every single time you think about not going in,
bro.
It's like that
people
one
don't realize
thought
that
kind of comes in. You're like, should I go today? Should I just, or I'll think like, you could just go into the sauna and stretch.
Dude, people don't realize that
Every day it creeps in, and you've just got to go, hey, boom. So identify that. Hey, that just happened. No, like whatever you're doing right then, shut your car off, grab whatever's left in your pre-workout, or slam that shit and get your punk ass in there and get it done, right? So, I think I think that even this morning,
Same, dude.
right? Like, I'm looking at it. I've been having some great circuits and stuff like that. I was back to that leg circuit today, and yesterday I was excited for today. Like yesterday afternoon, I'd already worked out. I did some other upper body stuff with cardio. By the way, I always do the HIIT cardio. That's going to be on every day right now. Or instead of like the 12-minute HIIT cardio, I'll do like a 30-minute steady cardio.
Okay.
If like I'm getting smoke checked from HIIT too much, I'll go to like the 30-minute steady cardio. But yesterday afternoon, like remember I was telling you I felt euphoric.
Yeah, I feel good.
I felt great. I was excited for like another leg day today. But then I woke up this morning and you're just like, I got to hit that.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, right there.
Recognize
Get
it.
after it.
Yep.
You know, and just, but then you have to understand, like, it's not a decision you're allowed to make. That's just hard with our liberties and our freedoms. And when your mental and physical are not for others, like you could gaff it off and who cares? It's really easy to do that. But mine, what I had to figure out what to do was like, how can I still keep that and then channel it into other directions? Like, my mental and my physical is for my family. Like, if I'm not mentally and physically sharp, I'm in a bad place. I just go to a bad place, right? Like, the devil just welcomes, he just loves idle hands, doesn't he? Right? Like, whatever that saying is, the devil, what is it?
Something like that.
The devil's welcoming upon idle hands or some shit,
yeah.
right? Like, you get what I'm saying. The devil likes you when you're idle, when you're stagnant. And if you don't believe in the devil, I get it. It's more about just negative shit, toxic, negative, non-productive shit, rests on idle hands, right?
Yep.
But I know that, like, just my overall energy, my focus, my production and business is all reliant upon my mental and physical abilities. Physical, as in physically moving my body, makes me mentally feel good. That's what I'm getting at with that. So for me, it's still not an option anymore. You just have to figure out what you identify with. If you don't have a family, I get it. You got to figure out and just maybe be a little selfish and understand that your own person is critical, right? But you've got to figure out something to relate to or something to identify with. I still identify those responsibilities. I've just now put that on. Hey, I've got a family to provide for. I've got people that are trusting me with deals, and I've got to keep myself sharp in order to execute the best that I can.
Sharp and positive.
As far as the diet, I don't know. You've done the bodybuilding shows, man, where you just couldn't do shit, and so you've had more demons with that. Mine is, I have a glass of milk and like a piece of cornbread or a little Debbie or just something stupid every day to every other day.
Yep.
And I intermittent fast. So I usually eat from 12 or 1 p.m. To 9 p.m. And I literally, like, you see, like, I have water. I have 0 calorie or I have water if I'm not in that eat window. Like, I'm fasted. And then at the end of the day, you know, like during my last meal, I'll have a glass of milk and some bullshit. But that one bullshit, it doesn't fuck up my macros. I'm still in a calorie deficit. And for me, just having something every day, just that kind of fix before I lay down and get some sleep, I just like it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I like it. And like, I'm not here to be in a bodybuilding show. I'm not here to like rid myself of fucking gummy bears forever and like just the finer things in life, like fucking milk for me, or like Royal Crest, this good whole milk, right? Like, I'm not. I still like to enjoy my food, man. So I do have like a day where, you know, it's kind of like a cheat meal or a cheat day, like if we go out to eat.
But you've got guidelines.
Yeah, I've got guidelines, but then like, and then sometimes we just don't go out to eat. We're busy or you're quarantined. You're not going to go to any restaurant right now, but I do like having something that kind of curbs my appetite or gives me a fix every day, because then I don't feel those demons that you talk about, because I guess I just kiss the devil goodnight every night. You're not.
Well,
you keep playing hard to get, and then the devil's like,
not for years. I haven't done that for years, bro.
Okay.
But in bodybuilding shows, and I swear, man, eating like a bodybuilder made me fat. Now, when I was doing a bodybuilding show, I was getting shredded, of course, because I wasn't deviating from that whatsoever. However, on shows where I tried to continue that style of eating, which was basically 6 meals a day, chicken, basically meals that alternate, like chicken, rice, and broccoli, and then just chicken and broccoli. And then some other coaches would have me do carb cycling. I did do one where I just did intermittent fasting. That was the best one that I did. Yeah. But if I continued that 6 meal a day trend afterwards, what would happen is I would get my whole daily calories in that 6 meals, but then because I wasn't doing a show and there was no, you know, skin in the game per se, if I wanted something bad that night and I would binge because I, you know, had been not eating bullshit all week, then I go way overboard on my calories.
Did you ever cry when you benched? Like, because you just knew it was wrong but couldn't help it, and you're like crying over a bowl of Reese's Pieces?
No. Megan threw up one time, though, when we had a cheat day. Because we had like...
Oh, I like how you throw her under the bus when she's not here to defend herself.
I felt so bad, dude. We were doing a show together, and we were allowed the one cheat meal our coach gave us the entire prep. He was like, hey, go and cheat, you know, whatever you want tonight, free game. We're like, oh, fuck yeah. So we go and get a pizza and brownies and all this bullshit. They call that like a reload
or something, right?
Yeah, refeed. Yeah. And it was like 2 weeks before we were going to do like our final peak week. So,
okay.
Dude, she got 2 pieces of pizza in, and then she was in the bathroom like throwing up all night. I felt terrible. Man. She couldn't even enjoy any of it.
Were you all fat and happy though?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, I felt terrible.
No, you didn't. You were in a food coma.
You never feel good after eating like that, dude.
You felt terrible?
The idea of eating like that is so much better than actually eating like that. You know what I mean?
Unless you're conditioned to that.
Unless you're conditioned and you're that.
Dude, I remember like in high school, man, I'd have Taco Bell every day. I'd have a chicken quesadilla every day. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Didn't mess with me one bit.
When you ain't eating shit for 6 months and then you do that.
True.
And you just trash your shit.
True.
I felt bad for her. She couldn't even enjoy it. I remember puking just like, I just want to eat pizza.
And like, so for now, right? Like, what are you guys doing at home? Like, you're getting your workouts in.
Fasting, bro.
So I'm doing like a lot of cardio bike and I'm doing like body weight circuits. What are you doing?
Well, as far as nutrition goes, we're both fasting. Megan loves intermittent fasting. Yeah. She's doing phenomenal with that, and she'll push it till like 3 or 4 a lot of days. Sometimes we will. I'll fast probably 5 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week, and then the other days, if I don't fast, I do try and eat cleaner that day.
Yeah.
That's kind of my guideline. But for cardio, man, we got a spin bike at home, so just doing that thing, and I'll usually work that into intervals with another circuit that I'm doing. Yep. So like the other day I was doing push and pull. So I was doing bench press and then pull-ups and then bike and then some kettlebell swings and then just a few different circuits like that. Now that it seems like we're going to be locked down a little bit longer, or at least the gyms are going to be shut down.
Yeah, not necessarily lockdown. And we can't quote that, right? But it might get a little bit more lockdown. Who knows? Or maybe for a week or two. But, you know, regardless or not, like, you know, gyms are closed. Yeah. So what are people doing? And I know we're trying to keep these things at 30 minutes. I know we're at 35 right now, and people got other stuff to do like Netflix and stuff. And
people got other stuff to do like Netflix. Yeah,
but I tell you what, man, like just surround yourself around good people, surround yourself around strong people. If you have to isolate yourself from other people's negativity, even if you're normally their friend, do so. And I can't stress enough, like, you know, what that call from Manny means to me. Like, that's a brother of mine. Him and I were in the Marine Corps together, served at division schools, and we're leading instructors together. This guy is responsible for bar and grills right now. Dude, they're tooth and nail. People are buying they're getting hit the worst, man. Yeah. Like, these guys, people are buying gift cards to help. People are doing the drive, you know, the curbside, you know, and they're getting creative because they don't even offer that at bar and grills, right? Like, but this guy is calling me on a radio check, just saying, hey, you good?
Yeah.
Your family good?
Yeah.
But I promise you, he's keeping his fucking mind in the game.
Yep.
And part of keeping your fucking mind in the game is checking on your brothers.
Yep.
Right? It's not succumbing to negativity, and it's surrounding yourself around other people that are grinders, that are positive, but then also don't forget how to give. Don't forget how to still nut up, just cowboy up and look out for others. Looking out for others and being strong during times of adversity, it does bring the strong out in you, and it leaves you no time to be weak. It leaves you no time to be vulnerable. All you're doing is improvising, adapting, and overcoming to whatever situation happens that you're being informed about literally on a day-to-day basis right now. But you have a decision to either improvise, adapt, and overcome and keep yourself strong and sharp, or you can have time to succumb to negativity. And my boy's got a family. He's got kids. This is something that is probably hitting him and people like him very hard. But that, man, like, and if he wouldn't have called during the podcast and I answer it, like, you would, no one even knows about that act of kindness that Marines have with each other, you know, like, of just, and to just keep your mind in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like when people talk about just what is, like, you know, I know Jocko talks about it a lot. I'm not saying I'm like an advocate for that guy, or not saying that I'm not, but he would talk about things like not wearing a coat. Like if he didn't bring a coat, or if he brought a coat, but it was in his hand, just like not wanting people to see him put that jacket on. And we used to do that in the field all the time. Believe it or not, when you're out in the field training and it's cold as shit, like cold weather training, man, it's brutal. You try to layer as slowly as possible. Because if you put on all your layers and then you get cold, you're fucked. So you try to withstand nothing, and then you slowly add maybe one glove and the other glove, and then maybe like one Gore-Tex layer, and then another layer a couple hours later. You slowly try to do it, but you've got to keep your mind in the game. And I promise you, just checking on your Marines like that, like, it's Manny's keeping his mind in the game. He's keeping his mind in the fight. That's what we do, man. There is no failure. There is no, we're not going to push through this. There is no, we're not going to not take care of our families. But you've got to find ways to keep your mind in the game. And part of that is checking on your dudes, still being a resource for other people while still being resourceful. It's huge. And I'm glad he called. I hope that's a testament to what people should be doing right now, right this second. But for today's podcast, take care of your mind and your body. Get good water in you. Get good food on you. You don't need as much food as you think. Get a protein. Get some supplements that can supplement your diet. So if all the junk food's gone at the grocery store, all the fresh food, get yourself a protein shake you can take once or twice a day, okay? And then get up, get your ass moving, get that body right, keep your mind right.
And last point for me, man, and it's a good reminder for us to talk today, and some things that you were talking to me about. For those guys, like everything Will said, 1,000%, but then also, if you do find yourself going down that negative road where your brain is just, you know, circling those thoughts of worry and concern and the uncertainty, and you maybe you're in a tough situation, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like,
be resourceful.
This is a part where the community has to come together. And I know there's been like Facebook groups where like moms are all on a private Facebook group, and one mom has diapers and one mom has wipes. Yeah. And it's like you're seeing community exchanges happen where they're driving to their house or leaving wipes on the doorstep. She's picking up a couple diapers on the way out.
Being resourceful, man.
Being resourceful.
What do you think Marines do?
Yeah.
If a guy's low on ammo, another guy's going to give him some ammo.
Right.
Like, hey, like, you've got to be resourceful.
And don't be afraid to ask. Like, that's a big thing.
There's no timeouts here.
Yeah.
Like, there's no timeouts in life. This is happening. This is here. You know, like, and it's just important to understand that. But you're so right, man. Like, don't think that being resourceful or asking for those things is weak. It's not. Just in the same time, in the same frame, whatever you can do for others, do your best to do for others.
Right.
But absolutely, man, being resourceful is a part of survival. This is a part of our piece of just being human beings. And I think that when you are resourceful and people help you out in a time of need, like, and the feeling that you get from someone that helped you when it was needed and how appreciative you are, it makes you want to give. Right. And I hope that stands the test of time, because I know a lot of people are hoarding guns right now. Like, should not be your first avenue right now. Don't lose total faith in humanity and think that everyone's going to loot your house. Yeah, there's been a couple criminals dressing up as like, you know, Corona detectors, and they're going to come in and scope your house or test your house and they rob you. Look, evil's been around for a long time. Evil's just finding a way to get into your house. Don't think that everyone is now just going to start doing that and looting. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying don't have anything to protect your family. I do just pray that, like, the benefit of doubt that I give it from what I've seen so far, I think we're going to be good. I think people are going to pull together, but challenge yourself to do so and just do the best that you can for others.
Yep. 100%.
Right on.
It's a good episode, bro.
Good episode.
Keeping everyone positive, man.
Doing my best, bro.
Keeping us moving forward. It's
doing
good.
my best.
It's good.
Keeps me sharp.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. We're going to be back after this weekend.
If you guys got questions on Bastards Canteen, shout out to Manny and those boys over there. If you guys want to know how you can help or anything like that, hit us up, send me a message. We'll definitely get you in contact with Manny direct. And if it's just something that you guys want to do for them, you let us know. We'll make it happen.
Cool, guys. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Out.